ezweni mangibeka mabala. Mangibeka mabala, ezweni mangibeka mabala. Bangibeka mabala, ezweni mangibeka mabala. Bangibeka mabala, ezweni mangibeka mabala. Mangibeka mabala, ezweni mangibeka mabala. Bangibeka mabala, ezweni bangibeka 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 mabala. Please tap the screen. Hotep Royals, Togozani family, please tap. Just keep tapping that screen so we get a few more people on here. My title may be misleading, but we are going to continue our discussion on Warlocks. Going to talk about the Warlocks. Please tap the screen. Tap that screen. Togozeni, Kamagwini. Yo bangibeka mabala, ezweni bangibeka mabala. Keep tapping. If you keep tapping, we'll get more people on here as soon as possible so we can carry on with this very important topic currently. Nkanyezi, how are you? Catherine, how are you? I see some familiar faces. Cholofelo, how are you? Please tap the screen, family. Let's get as many people on here as possible before I actually start. And for those of you who don't know, a lot of these get downloaded and they get put up on YouTube. So if you happen to come in the middle of a teaching, you can always go to YouTube. If you go to my bio, you will see my YouTube channel. You can go and watch it. Togoza. Aisiapila Ketla. Thank you. Nkanyezi, I don't know if you are Nkanyezi masculine or Nkanyezi feminine. But welcome, my namesake. Welcome. Ninjan. So let's get on some people here and then we will get going with this. A few things to share with you guys that have occurred just since I was last here in J. So it's kind of deep. I love it when spirit confirms certain things, when there is such an alignment of everything that is going on that you literally get information as you are going along. And so when I get information, whether through personal experience, whether it is through dealing with my clients, that comes through, and I am given the Togoza family blessings by the way of Scottsdale, Arizona. Hello, Arizona. Welcome. You are most welcome to this. Please share this live out as well. If you know or have heard somebody talking about warlocks or who doesn't understand what's going on in their lives and they feel like they are under some sort of attack, energy is low, they're kind of confused about what's going on with their own lives, they feel like their destiny has been swapped. It can be very confusing, it can be quite traumatic. But we are here to unpack. I've already done a part 1 and part 2. And I want to expand a little bit because it does get deep. And like I've always said to those who follow me regularly that, hi Flo, how are you? Thank you so much for coming on, guys. Come on. Let's see how many more people we can get on and then I'm going to get on with it. I've said this before and I'll continue to say it. The spiritual realm which ends up manifesting in the physical, is vast. And there is no one person who can claim to know everything. There really isn't. Not that we don't know everything, because everything is locked. I'm speaking to Bagwantu here. Everything is locked up in our DNA, because many of us are as old as the cosmos itself. And I'm not talking about your physical avatar, your current avatar. Your current avatar is not how we measure your age as a spirit. We measure your age as a spirit based on how long your spirit has been in existence, how long you as a ball of energy, if you like, as an ethereal being, as a soul, have been alive. And there are many who have been around for as long as the cosmos is around. There are many spirits or souls that were birthed as the cosmos was being birthed. So it becomes really vast and intricate. And just because you cannot remember everything in one particular lifetime, meaning in your current avatar, doesn't mean you don't have this knowledge. And the age we are in now is an age where there's a lot of DNA memory being unlocked. That is why you find that when we teach certain things and we talk about certain things, many of you will resonate with it. Like something in you says, yes, you don't know how you've known it, but I'm not saying anything new to you. It's been in there, it's locked. Part of my work is to do some unlocking for you. There are many others who are doing this work as well, which is why you'll find that as you go through your own journey, you will find that there are several people who are speaking about different things, and all these things kind of resonate with you. And this is how you hit the follow button. You think, okay, this one is speaking to me. Nah, I'm not speaking to you. I'm unlocking your DNA. That's why you feel that kindred sort of spirit. You feel like, you know what? I can relate to this person. And on any other day, you may feel like I may say something that doesn't resonate with you, but will resonate with somebody else. And that's perfectly okay. We are all here to serve one common purpose, which is to awaken and then to guide loosely those who are already awakened to find and to align with their own divine path and divine purpose. I say guide loosely because really, once you awaken, you are responsible for your own journey. We may be there to guide here and there, but the responsibility for whether you align with your life's purpose, with your soul mission, that is entirely in your hands. And therefore, I always say, take what resonates. If it doesn't resonate, it's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you if it doesn't resonate. It simply means that the message or whatever it is I'm saying is not for you. Masithokozeni. So let me greet everybody correctly. Thokozani, Kamagwini, Leserihanya, Tobela, Emakhosini, Nangadef, Habari gani, Muribwanji, Kwaziwai, who have I forgotten? If I've forgotten anyone in my greeting, I'm going to need to write them down and then just read them out. But I hope I've covered as many people as possible. And of course, Hotep Royals, we are here. So I wanted us to continue our conversation on warlocks. And this time I want us to talk about what I would call the high order warlock. And I mentioned this in my last topic when we talked about warlocks. What do I mean by your higher order or higher level warlocks? I'm not talking about the little ones who are out there busy calling themselves warlocks, because half the time I laugh when I see them, especially on social media, and they're like, yeah, I'm a warlock. And I'm like, oh, cute. Because really, they don't know what they're talking about. When we're talking about a warlock, a high order warlock, we are talking about somebody who is very well versed in the occult. We are talking about somebody who who was born with this thing as a purpose. And I explained last time that the same way that there are those chosen ones who come into this realm to assist in the ascension of humanity, there are also chosen ones who work in another realm within the spiritual space, whose job is to avert or to delay or distract or totally destroy the mission of the chosen ones who are here to help humanity ascend. Are you hearing me? In this age we are in, the warlocks are anti the divine feminine. The warlocks are anti Great Mother. This is why there is a scramble to find the chosen ones who are supposed to help humanity to return to origin, to return to source, to return to Great Mother. They are on a mission to find those, and they are literally finding them as an assignment. It's an assignment that they are on to distract, delay, derail, or totally destroy this chosen one who is on a mission to assist humanity to ascend, to assist humanity to return to the universal laws of Ma'at. Now we are in the age of Ma'at, which is the age of Aquarius. And so, like I said, they've become very dangerous because last kicks of a dying horse, they're going to die trying. Remember, these entities, I call them entities, because for me, they are entities that also have a human avatar. Just because people out there are looking like you and me doesn't make them like you and me. Right? So I wanted us to understand that, because that is the high order warlock, anti-divine feminine and anti-great mother. This is why you find the majority of them are in secret societies whose sole mission was to defile, defy, and desecrate Great Mother. So think of all the institutions that you know of. Think of all the secret societies that you know of, whose central role is to defile, defy, and desecrate Great Mother. The FMs, the Eastern Stars. And across the entire planet, there are those kind of societies. Across Africa, Asia, India, South America, you name it, across the entire planet, these organizations exist. These are the organizations that have buttressed, if you like, and been the cornerstone of the patriarchy. Because in order for the patriarchy to have existed, such organizations that are anti-divine feminine, that are anti-great mother, had to be established. Somebody is asking, what is Great Mother? I really think that you might need to do some research on that. If you don't know Great Mother, then and you're gonna have to find that out. And I don't know, I don't know who you are. I don't recognize your name, but those who follow know such things. Somebody said there's no such thing as chosen ones. You're on the wrong live, because then we're not vibing. Those who know. If you don't know, I see a lot of people here who don't even get where I'm going. Guys, if you're new to this, maybe you want to sit back and listen. I'm not going to read questions. If it doesn't help, I cannot repeat myself. I'm here for a short space of time. Somebody says assist them. Click on my YouTube, go and watch. It's all there. And those who know. That's all I can say. So let's carry on with the issue of the warlocks. So this is the thing. I've explained the higher order warlock versus the baby warlock who literally loves to go announcing to say, I'm a warlock. Those are little harmless puppies who really can't do much. They're still playing with red and black candles and sticking needles into them and doing all sorts of... They are into what I call Magic 101. When I talk of the higher order warlock, they're on a mission. They're on a serious mission. So now, let's look at this aspect. This aspect is like this. There are certain people, and you may find that within your own family, there are certain lineages or bloodlines that have warlocks in them in terms of ancestry. I need you to hear me well. I have come across two such in my practice. And it's been a trip. It's been a learning curve for me because this is what showed me that trying to do rituals the normal way that I have been trained to do when I went to initiation school isn't cutting it. Because those rituals are very much confined to what I would call the simpler type of witchcraft or warlockism. So here's the thing. There are many people with such ancestry. It may be 3, 4, 5, 6 generations ago. Within your bloodline, there was a warlock. Within your bloodline, there was some serious dark magic that was being done. And here you are now finding yourself in this incarnation, and you have either one or several. Remember too, it's usually not just one ancestor. It's usually a lot of them, because once they are initiated or they take part in this thing, it has to then be handed down the bloodline. And I want to give credit to one Makosi who literally, we had this discussion, her and I, it was a conversation on WhatsApp where we were talking about this. And she brought in a very interesting perspective. And the perspective she brought in comes back to the issue of when we talk about ancestral veneration. And I've always said to you, when you're about to venerate your ancestors for the first time, you need to be very careful to make sure that you pronounce that you are only seeking the ancestors that walked and worked in the light. Because if you don't, you are inviting all the others who did any number of nefarious things into that veneration space, and you are energizing and elevating them. This could result in a lot of chaos in your own life. That is one of the reasons I said you need so much when you are doing your veneration to make sure that you create a safe, not safe, but a what I would call a, what's the word I'm looking for? I would call it a sterile space, so that only those that you wish to connect with, which hopefully are of the light, are the ones who show up. And you don't invite all the other dark energies into your veneration space. So very important that you keep that in mind. Very important. So now, if you have such within your bloodline, you're going to have to do a bit of research to find out who they were. If you can't find out who they were, then you're also going to have to be vigilant. Why am I bringing this up? This particular Makosi I spoke to said to me, have you ever thought for the fact that there are people out there who are attracting warlocks simply because they have within their bloodline people who were warlocks. And so when they see you, if you have such ancestors around you, the warlocks that are attracted to you are actually coming to you almost by invitation by this tainted bloodline. Now, hard as it is to accept, but should they be invited? Who? I don't know what that was. Somebody says, facts over fiction. I was doing this without knowing what I was doing. Your higher self always knows. So yes, maybe you think you didn't know, but remember, your higher self is of high intelligence. You are creator. So yeah, that is the guidance your higher self gave you, which when you listen carefully to your higher self, you do get all sorts of information that you need. She's literally a fictional theorist. Okay. Whatever. Guys, you don't know me, so I really don't care for your commentary. If this live does not suit you, can you please kindly leave? Because what I have to share with people is actually quite important. No, you don't invite those that practice in the dark, but you have to actively banish them from your space, is what I'm saying. So you have to actively banish them from your veneration space, is what I'm saying. Thank you. Somebody says you're telling the truth. Well, I don't have time to press here and come and lie to you guys. I have no reason to. And I'm actually doing this because I'm speaking into a moment. And many of you know this already, because if you go through the socials, there is a lot of talk about this. There are a lot of young women who are coming out and who are speaking about their own personal experiences with this. So this is not me coming here to waste time. There's plenty of things I would rather be doing than coming here to mislead people. What do you mean? You asked me not to mislead people. Mislead people how? And who are you to say I'm misleading people? Who are you to say I'm misleading people? Yes, that's also with initiates. Remember, I don't know how you initiated, but when we went to initiation school, we went through a 2-week program of thorough cleansing, right, Mkulu? You go through the cleansing of different aspects of your spiritual self before you are actually even aligned with your gift givers, right? So you have to cleanse iskwama. I don't know how to call that. You have to cleanse the spirits that your ancestors worked with. You have to cleanse said ancestors. You have to cleanse yourself. There are so many different aspects you cleanse. To do what? To make sure we remove these ancestors that were not working in the healing space or as healers, but who were doing a whole bunch of other nefarious things. Now, I'll tell you something, Mkulu. There are people who choose willingly. There are people who will choose to keep that other entourage with them for whatever powers that they bring them. And for the majority, we didn't want that. We did not want anything to do with that. But my point of all this was to say that we cannot speak about warlocks without looking also into the bloodline. And trying to ask the question, for example, there's a young woman who came on and said she keeps attracting warlocks. Why is that? Yes, they see her light. Yes, they want to curtail her mission ultimately. But the question is, why does she keep getting targeted by warlocks? That is when the question of the bloodline comes in. Like in the spiritual realm attracts like. In the spiritual realm, opposites attract doesn't work. Like attracts like. So if you, as you in your avatar, are walking a certain path, say as a healer rather than as a destroyer, why would you be attracting what is the antithesis of you? What is the opposite of you? It may mean that in your bloodline somewhere, you have somebody who's following you from your bloodline who's attracting that other warlock, and they think, oh, we're buddy-buddy. That is how you may end up with some of them within your life, and you keep attracting. Now, question becomes, can something be done about that? Yes. Plenty can be done about it. Plenty can be done about it. Right? It's very important why I bring this up, because I think Mkulu Mutau, just to speak to this issue, we see a lot of this in initiation school, where people go to initiation school and they come out worse than they were when they went in, or they come out and they're just like pure evil, and you're like, what happened there? Because you're supposed to go through a death of the old self and a rebirth, and the new self is supposed to come out with healing skills, and yet they come out and they're like, yo, and you ask yourself, what happened? I put it to you, Mkulu, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. You can tell me, proper cleansing was not done. It has to be so thorough. Listen, when I was in initiation school, let me tell you, for 2 weeks, to have to palaza, to have to purge, to have to steam, to have to wash. Hey, every single day for like 14 days straight before anything else can happen. That for me was the hardest part of the whole process. Everything else I could do, the kneeling until your knees were, I could go through anything. All those other things was nothing. That initial stage was tough. And what was interesting is you saw it during that cleansing, because there would be some who would be very resistant. You have to do this. And you could tell that, no, man, this person is not them resisting. There is something causing them not to want to do this. In other words, there was somebody there who wanted to stay. I've experienced this in cleansing people, where we're going for a cleanse to remove, and on the way there, the car gets stuck, or I suddenly feel sick on the highway. Somebody with whom this happened will attest. And I suddenly feel physically ill. We have to pull over on the highway on our way to the river or the waterfall, and I have to purge. And this person will be like, no, maybe it means we shouldn't be going today. And of course, from experience, I know better. I'm like, no, what has just happened shows me that we need to go now. And lo and behold, usually as we get there, somebody on this will come through to say, you want to throw me away? Because they were comfortable there with this child doing all manner of things. One of the people that I remember very clearly this happening with was that there was a Rahadi or a Feba. Like Rahadi liked the men's, and this poor child had suffered and suffered. And I said, no, it's because there's somebody here who was enjoying this and now is using your body to continue Lomkuba. So we need to get, for me, it wasn't even a matter of getting rid of Rahadi. It was a matter of cleansing Rahadi, cleansing this aunt, so that she aligned properly with this young woman and didn't make her go around doing all sorts of crazy things. So very important to understand that the whole warlock thing is very complex. It is complex because there's a lot that's going on internally that needs to be looked at. And then there's a lot that's also going on external of yourself that also needs to get looked at. Very important. So let's take a look at this idea that, okay, so we talked about the hallmarks of a warlock. Why are they there? What are they there to do? And so on and so forth. And I said they are anti the divine feminine. They are anti Great Mother. Right? So here is another thing that we need to remember. Warlocks are your higher order warlocks. They have been doing this forever. And so I gave you the hallmarks, and you may ask, well, why did I miss them? Because that's a lot of what happens with people who have been victims of warlocks, is there's a lot of self-blaming too. Like, how come I missed this? How come I didn't see this? The thing is, remember that their game is very old. And remember also that they're extremely manipulative. And you don't know you're being manipulated until you realize you're being manipulated. And by that stage, you're already in it, right? By that stage, you're already in. So it becomes very difficult for you. Wisdom is always hindsight, right? When you get out is when you see that, you know what? I was being manipulated all along. But when you're in it, you don't see the wood for the trees, because this thing they do is part of their nature. It's not something they learned to do. It's something that they are. So when I say they are master manipulators, I don't mean that they learned the art of manipulation. No, they are master manipulators. So it's so second nature to them. They don't actually have to sit to think, you know what? I'm going to manipulate her like this and like that and like this. No, they just do it. And so it comes so naturally to them, you will miss it because they're not sitting there thinking about it. Somebody who has to think and plot and plan things out can be easier to spot than somebody who literally lives this thing. Does that make sense? When something is their nature, they are that thing. That is why I said there's nothing you can do about it. Especially those of you who have this empaths usually have a tendency to want to save. Empaths have a tendency to want to fix. The problem with that is you can't fix a warlock. They are who they are. You simply need to get yourself away from them as quickly as you possibly can and get yourself protected. That is it. You cannot ever, ever, ever say, I want to save. So those of us in the healing space who are accustomed to helping, who are accustomed to healing, you cannot heal a warlock. The same way that you cannot heal a narcissist. And remember, I did say to you that a warlock is a narcissist, but a narcissist isn't necessarily a warlock, because a narcissist can just be a man out there who, for whatever reason, is highly manipulative, doesn't know what love is, and. A warlock is different because they operate in the spiritual realm. That is the major difference between a narcissist and a warlock. Remember, a warlock also operates for an end game that is spiritual. Anti-divine feminine, anti-great mother. This is why I said you find them in a lot of these secret societies, because a lot of those secret societies, if you go and you look even at their symbols, you will see that a lot of it is centered, the symbolism is centered around the divine feminine, but everything is always inverted and upside down. The upside down pentacle that sits right in the face of Baphomet. If you look at the shape of Baphomet, and if you look at the shape of the womb, it's exactly the same. And then they put the pentacle upside down. The pentacle is a symbol for Great Mother when it's right side up. So again, it's about knowing how these societies operate, knowing their symbols and symbolism, and being able to see what is actually going on. One of the things that I've taught people is when you separate yourself from a warlock on a physical, make sure that you also do it spiritual, and make sure that you start calling your energy back, because they are energy vampires, they are parasites. Their entire life is built around siphoning feminine energy so that they can use it for themselves. They, like I said, are master manipulators. They will come to you as gurus. They will come to you as spiritual teachers. They will come to you as lovers. They will tell you that they're your soulmate, and you will believe that it's your soulmate because they mirror you. They have studied you for a while, and they know how you roll and how you move. They know, listen, they study you so that by the time they are interfacing with you physically and talking to you physically, they know how to mirror you. They're masters at it. They know how to have you actually believe that, oh my God, guess what? I've met my twin flame. Guess what? I've met my soulmate. And you, because of their manipulation, will think it's a love thing or it's a mentorship thing. Meanwhile, no, they simply have studied you. And remember, they do readings on you too. All they need is your picture. They can read you because remember, they operate in the spiritual realm. They've studied your spiritual profile to know, okay, this one is like this, like this, like this. Okay, this is what we call, okay, this is a high level empath as well. So, okay. Then they have their game set up and they come for you. This is literally how they roll. So when you remove yourself, you have to call your energy back to yourself. You have to call your spiritual blueprint back to yourself. Because remember, destiny swapping is another very good thing that they're at. That is how they're able to mirror you. So that when you see them, you literally see yourself. When you see them and how they move, even sometimes to the extent of how they speak, how their mannerisms are, they're mirroring you. That's a destiny swap. You need to take yourself back to yourself. So the same way they ritual you into their world is the same way you have to ritual yourself out of that world. You have to ritual yourself. I always say ritual in, ritual out. Thank you so much. Somebody here says I'm a Christian, but your content. But the thing is, it may resonate with you because again, I'm talking to your higher self, and maybe it resonates, or maybe you've had experiences because even within the church, and the church is patriarchal. That's why I said a lot of these warlocks will be found in spaces where they are there to strengthen or fortify patriarchy. So you will find them even within the church. Actually, there are plenty of them within the church. And many of you will be surprised to know that your pastors and your priests and your reverends and your imams and so on and so forth are actually in secret societies alongside running churches. Do you get where I'm going with this? Because sometimes from within the secret society, they're given certain assignments. You will run churches. We'll make sure you become a bishop and then you'll run a whole bunch of churches. This is where you're going to do your energy harvesting. You will run this. And then in this space, you are going to do your energy harvesting there. You will be in the police force, and within the police force and everything else that you do, you will do your energy harvesting there. You will be a doctor or a nurse. Within that field, you are going to harvest energy there. It's an intricate web, and I would urge you, please go and start reading about these secret societies. No, I'm not a member of any secret society. 100 Club. No, I'm not a member of any secret society. I am a devotee of Great Mother, the Great Matriarch. I am here for the restoration of sanity to this planet. So there's no way I would ever sell my soul to that kind of nonsense. Because literally when you go down that route, that is you selling your soul. And you commit. People think you're committing just in this realm. When this avatar dies, you are committed even in the spiritual realm. That is why they call it selling your soul. They call it selling your soul for the material gains that you will get. And you will get material gains. They promise you all sorts of things. And you get those. You get rewarded in this lifetime. But remember that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So your soul won't die. But then the question becomes, what you've literally set yourself and your bloodline up now. You've committed, directly or indirectly, you've committed them to this path. To what end? Because as we speak now, Ma'at is here. As we speak now, truth, justice, morality, ethics, order, harmony, peace is now here. She's here to collect. So, what have you done to yourself, your children, your children's children, and so on and so forth and so on? Yes, they do it through dreams. I've talked about that a lot. That is why I've said to people, when you wake up in the morning, cancel all contracts that you may have signed knowingly or unknowingly that do not serve your highest good. Call your energy back first thing in the morning, because they're very smart at blocking your dreamscape so that you don't even know what you did in the dreamscape. So before you go to bed at night, you call your energy back, you cancel all contracts, whatever's happened during the day. When you wake up in the morning, you do the same thing. Yeah, that is a ritual. Yeah. And that's the thing. Anything that involves the drinking of human blood, Christ was human, and the eating of human flesh, guys, that's occultic, that's dark. I hate to say it. I know, because the Christians get very, very upset with me when I say that is dark. And remember, I was a Christian too. I ritualed myself out of that because, yes, I was also drinking the blood and what. I had to ritual myself out by doing a ritual purge of that and a denouncement of that. Because even though I was committed to this as a child, my family was Christian, I, as an adult, made the conscious decision to ritual myself out. So, this is it. I mean, it's a very uncomfortable topic. That's why I know there's some people who are like, oh, you're scaremongering and stuff. I'm not scaring anybody. But we have to deal with the reality on ground. We have to deal with the reality on ground. And all I'm here to do is, number one, to awaken you, to conscientize you. And number two, to give you a few tools through which you can save yourselves and you can save your children. And also to be of comfort to those young women and those, let's just say women in general, who have had this happen to them and who are still sitting there asking themselves, what just happened to me? How did I even find myself there? That is why we talk of, guys, you can't have one foot in one camp, one foot in another. You really can't. 42 laws of Ma'at include the 10 commandments, adulterated. You're correct. That's where they were stolen. But then they were handpicked, right? They picked the ones that suited their purpose and left all the ones that didn't suit their purpose. So again, selective. Very selective. So we are going back to nature. We're going back to the way things were. We're going back to source. And there is going to be a great purge. I have said this and I'm going to say it again. Guys, some of you are over here and you're like, yeah, but we just heard Deepak Chopra. Is he not on the Epstein list? I mention him specifically because for a very long time, I followed Deepak Chopra and his teachings. I thought he was a fantastic spiritual teacher. And then this comes out. I wasn't even surprised. I wasn't even surprised that Deepak Chopra is on the Epstein list and that there are emails or whatever he was talking to Epstein saying, oh, that was a great time, or she was great, talking about little underage girls that they were sacrificing on that Epstein Island. That's all ritual. Have you seen how that guys, have you seen how that mansion is constructed? Have you taken a good look at the symbolism and the symbols on that mansion? And everybody thinks, oh no, it was just an island for them to go and do perverted things. No, They were ritualing. You got to understand, if you look at this with your human eyes, you will miss out on the whole point of what is actually going on in the world. Everything that was happening there was ritualistic. Do your research. You don't have to take my word for it. So, of course, the Deepak Chopras are going to be found there. And what did I say to you guys 2 years ago? What did I say? I said, men are going to be removed from the spiritual space because it was never their domain. They are imposters. And the reason they're going to be removed is they have done some heinous, terrible, abominable things. That's not to say women in the spiritual space are not and have not. But they too will be removed. That is the great purge that I'm talking about. The desperation we are seeing with the warlocks and those who are practicing these dark occultic things, the desperation is because they are thirsty. They are thirsty. They are getting weak because women are pulling their energy back and away. Women are learning how to preserve their energy, how to preserve their wombs. There are so many people who are teaching women, protect your wombs, protect your womb space. Women aren't just letting anybody go there anymore because we now know. We now know what is really going on. So it's very important that we fully understand this. Guys, I don't know if you guys know about Deepak Chopra, but if you don't, just go and Google Deepak Chopra Epstein files. It'll all come out. It's all there. And he's not the only one. There are many others. So now, again, what would you call somebody like him if not a high order warlock? Because he's into rituals. Anytime these people come together in a cultish sort of way, ritual. It's happening all over the world. I am the twin of junior sibling espouse. Oh, I don't know. Who's junior sibling? I don't know who that is. I don't know who junior sibling is. So let me see if I have any questions. Do you guys have some questions? If you have any questions, love you too, love Pink. Thank you. Thank you so much for the gifts. Let me see if I have any questions because, yeah, I can just go on and on and on. I just love to see if there are any questions. Type your questions away, fam. Yes. Somebody's like, what? Yeah, go and Google it. He's in there. He's in there. I have a question regarding the energy harvesting you spoke about. Go ahead and ask your question. I'll answer. What is energy harvesting? So energy harvesting is literally where somebody will harvest your life force energy. What is the quickest way they do that? Is through SEX. So I've explained this in other videos, but I'll explain it very briefly now. When you engage in SEX with somebody who has the intention of harvesting energy, either to create wealth or to boost themselves, to empower themselves, they will have SEX with you. When they have SEX with you, when you have the big O, that big O, that is a burst of life force energy that they siphon from you. You're not aware it's happening, but they will siphon that energy. And remember, a lot of people who are doing this are powerful manifestors. So while you're busy going, oh my God, and doing all that, and you're so deeply in love, this person is not in love with you. This person is after your energy. When you hit the big O, and they will make sure you hit that big O, they will make sure. That is why sometimes they are addictive. You can't get away from them because they're that good. They will simply siphon that energy. You're there going in the aftermath. he's gotten what he wants. A lot of them will work with entities that require that energy. That is one quick way that they harvest your energy. Another quick way they harvest your energy is they will have entities that stick around you, and these entities literally sap you dry. You feel exhausted the whole time. You feel scatterbrained. You can't focus on anything. They're harvesting your energy. I've spoken about this at length, guys. If you like, just go on the YouTube, go and check it out. I have spoken about the concerts. I have spoken about how concerts, I've spoken about how some games, like your football games. Have you ever seen how those studios, those stadia are constructed? If you look from above, you'll see. The stadia across the whole world, these ones that hold, 50,000 plus people, they have a certain construction. And if you look from above, if you look at aerial views, just type in Google aerial views of football stadium and see what you're going to see. They are energy harvesting centers. So when you're all in a frenzy and you're going rah, rah, rah in there and you're all upside, like, listen, it's energy, energy, energy. Energy is being siphoned from you. So that's one form of energy harvesting. Another form of energy harvesting is when, and I always talk, especially to Bagwantu, the Black nation, about this so that you guys are fully aware. Have you ever noticed how the establishment has, or the system has kept us highly stressed, angry, anxious, high cortisol levels, like fearful? Have you ever noticed that? Why? Because the system doesn't work on your high vibrational energy. The system works on your low vibrational energy. It's called loosh, L-O-O-S-H, loosh energy. And so by keeping us like that, those who work the system and who created this system and who benefit from this system are literally siphoning that energy. That is why in my videos, I've always said, stay high vibrational. That's why when somebody's like, oh, instilling fear, I'm not here to instill fear. I'm a realist. And one of the things I will always tell people is you cannot have fear. You cannot have fear. You have to have knowledge of self. When you have knowledge of self, you can stare a demon in the face and not have fear because you know who you are. You only have fear when you allow external forces, when you allow religion, because religion is there to instill fear. Fear of what? Fear of hellfire and Satan. Fictitious characters that keep you trapped in a cycle of fear. You do something, oh my God, I may go to hell. That is to keep you low vibrational. And these entities, I call them entities who run this system, feed off of that energy. As long as you stay in fear and you stay low vibrational, this system stays intact. The minute you step out of that and you start vibrating high, meaning you go from the 3D root chakra fear and you go into the heart space and you go 5D, this system will crumble on its own. Because it's got nothing to feed off of. Remember that the system does not create. You create and the system siphons. So very important to know this and to internalize this. This is why your daily affirmations are important. Yeah, they feed through your emotions. Especially the negative ones. Oh my gosh. Why do you think that once you get into a negative spiral, it's very hard to get yourself out of? Because they'll keep whispering, yeah, things are really bad. Yeah, things are falling apart. Yeah. And they keep reinforcing your negative emotions, which makes it harder and harder for you to get out of them because they love that. Like, ooh, they are like gluttons for the low vibrational states. That is the energy. And that is how they keep us enslaved. Togoza, somebody gets it. Togoza Ketla, I'm glad that this is useful. Yes, I always say, we are emotional creatures. An emotion in and of by itself is neutral. It's what then happens. And so whatever you experience, get into gratitude as soon as possible. After I escaped a warlock, I thought my world was coming to an end for a minute. And then I remembered, hell no. I had to look, like, listen, I went to a mirror and I had a talk with myself. And I went into my gratitudes. Everything I was grateful for. I was even grateful for the lessons that I learned in that space. That is how, and every time, because, you know, I'm human. And every time I started to slide back to them, but how could I, I would literally self-talk, like out loud, to pull myself back and go into gratitudes. I started dancing. I would play music. I would dance myself into a frenzy, because for me, music raises my vibration. I can go from having been a puddle of tears on the floor to being a super goddess through music. Yeah, so many women are dealing with warlocks and have dealt and are going to deal. We are going to deal. And that is why I'm doing this work, so that many of us become aware. And the minute you realize that you are dealing with a warlock, run. Run. And I keep saying to the Divine Feminine, can you dance? Can you dance so that you keep your energy to yourself? Can you use your energy to energize you? Can you use your energy to grow you? I've even said to the Divine Feminine, can you abstain from SEX and use your life force for your abundance? Because many of you aren't even aware that that portal, it's a portal, is for your abundance. That is your money maker. And not in the way that you guys think, or not in the way that the ladies on the streets are saying, is my money maker. No. I'm talking about your abundance, your creative force is there. Many of you don't even know that. You're too busy giving it out freely. For what? For somebody to buy you a meal, or for somebody to pay your rent. Do you know what you are exchanging for payment of rent? Do you know what you're giving away for payment of rent? You could buy yourself 20 farms if you just contained yourself for a minute. I want you to do that experiment. Do that experiment. Put yourself on SEX haters with the male for a minute. And just use that energy to work for you. Oh, I've talked about how this can be done. I'm not going to talk about it here, but there is a group that I'm convening to teach women how to do this for themselves. Because all our lives, and our grandmothers before us, and our great-grandmothers before us, and our great-great-grandmothers before us, ever since the hijacking of the Divine Feminine and of Great Mother by the patriarchy, all we've ever done is worked for others. We've worked for the masculine. They will never acknowledge that, obviously. They'll tell you, oh no, no. Pull that energy away, see what's going to happen. Start making it work for yourself, see what's going to happen. See how your life is going to transform. See the peace and the joy and the contentment that you're going to start having in your own life. Contain yourself for just a little bit. Do some healing work and start using that energy for yourself. And watch what falls away from you. And see if you will be willing to reintroduce the chaos back into your life. Like I said, Warlocks, narcissists are working to keep you chaotic, to keep your nervous system in a jumble. They feed off of that energy. They feed off of your misery. They feed off of your anger, your frustration. They feed off of that. So, let's see if I have any more questions. I'm single and healed after abstaining. Yes, yes, yes. We all heal. Mine had to be yes, yeah. Your entire nervous system, and it takes a while. It takes a while. Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Speak good things to your nervous system. Speak good things to the very cells in your body, because remember, the body keeps a score. So when you speak and you release, and you speak and you release, we're in the season of Jehuti now, throat chakra. Use your voice to command things within yourself. Ne? You can do it. You are designed to do this, Divine Feminine. Ne? Stop letting people come and deposit their filth into you. And when I call it their filth, I mean their dis-ease, their own frustrations and anger and everything. This is what messes us up. Is because we are absorbers, we are receivers. So when you are with somebody who's messed up, you're going to get messed up. There's no question about it. That is why it's important to be careful who you lie with. Be careful who you bring into your bed. I cannot emphasize this enough. Somebody says I should write books about this. I will. I'm in the process. Speak life into water. Speak life into everything. Speak life into everything. You know, for example, in this part of the world, the food system is adulterated, right? A lot of the things that we're eating are GMOs. A lot of the things that we're eating are we know that have, like, you know, GMOs, seedless things and stuff. Alchemy. You are the ultimate alchemist. Divine Feminine. When you're cooking food for your family, speak life into that food. Speak life into your water. You know, when we drink water from a bottle like this, it's dead water with microplastics sometimes. Get that water out. Find a copper cup. Put it in a copper cup. Speak life into it. I have a copper pitcher like this for my family. We are alchemists. What is supposed to poison us, we will turn into medicine. And we can. And we have. That which is supposed to kill us, is going to make us live very long and healthy. So that is why I always say, being a spiritual person is not about just saying, woo, 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 I'm a spiritual person. It's a lifestyle. It's about living this thing. So when I talk about ritual, most of you think of rituals as something where you are now lighting candles like this, like this. It is a ritual to speak to your water before you drink it. It is a ritual to speak life over your food before you serve it to your family. It is a ritual to put your hand over your womb and to visualize your womb expelling all dark things, expelling any remnants of DNA from your previous lovers, expelling anything that there is. It is a ritual. Spirituality is about living rituals. So when you hear the word rituals, please don't think I'm talking about lighting candles and chanting and nah. It's about doing what our foremothers were doing. They spoke over things. They spoke life into things. If they hadn't spoken life into things and situations and spaces, we wouldn't be here today. I can tell you that. Because it's been a minute they've been trying to eliminate us and we're still here. So this is going back to that ancient wisdom of the foremothers, the ancient wisdom of Great Mother, and understanding that our foremothers are supporting us right now. Call on the gogos, the foremothers, the ancestors in what we are facing now, especially with warlocks and so on. Because understand that they are ruthless. I've said this before, they are ruthless. They're out to get what they want, how they want. That's why I said, don't tarry. Don't stay there thinking you can save somebody. Because you are seeing somebody. Be realistic and know that, no, this, I'm out. And bounce. Fast. Leave. So, very important. I hope this has been useful, guys. I'm sorry about the disturbance in the beginning with people who are just talking. I actually wish there was a way I could do my lives with just the people that resonate. Because Ashe, that resonate, because a lot of the times on this app, you end up just dragging all sorts of crazies. And really, remember, there was a time I stopped teaching on here because of that, because I was like, but then I keep getting sent here because obviously when I am sharing, there is somebody who will gain something. And it's not up to me to know who that person is. I don't go looking to see who that is. But invariably, every now and then I get an inbox and somebody says, what you shared with me literally saved me from XYZ. And that for me is everything, because it means that what I'm doing is with purpose. Sister, sometimes we need opposition to make us push. Togos, you are correct. That is why I'd have done given up. Because a lot of the times I bring things to the forefront that nobody else wants to talk about. I don't necessarily want to talk about them, but I'm forced to. My calling is such that, and I can't say no, because then when I don't say no, that's when you don't see me for a week, because I've been down with something. So I hope this has been useful. I'm going to download this later on. I'm going to post it on YouTube for anyone who wants to watch the whole thing from scratch. You know what? I'm going to do that. I will definitely do the subscribers only. Yeah, and let's do it that way. Because a lot of what I do want to bring, I know that it's very anti-patriarchy, it's anti-establishment, it's very pro-divine feminine. It's about empowering the feminine. And for my brothers who are here, me being pro the divine feminine does not mean I'm anti-masculine. And I know those who know me know enough. There are kings here who've been following me for years who know this. But they are also now enlightened enough to know that I only come here to speak the truth. If the divine feminine is not healed, if the divine feminine does not find herself, well, there will be none of you either, divine masculine. I can tell you that. Because all of this will go to hell in a handbasket. We are on the brink. It is what it is. That's not to scare you. That's me being realistic. And that's me saying, can we get on and do the work that we need to do? Very, very important. Can we stop getting distracted by all the minstrel and the sideshows? They keep giving us things to distract us. And we get distracted. Focus. Somebody says, how many years? Brink. That is not up to me to say how many years. But if you're not sensing, if you're not feeling it, if you're not seeing it, I don't know what to tell you. Because even kids are sensing that something is afoot. If you ever want to know where we're at, ask yourself, why all these things that have been hidden are coming to light with such rapid force. It's unbelievable. Every single day, there are new revelations. Why do you think that is? The age of Ma'at is here. The age of truth is here. So, on that note, family, I'm going to wish you good night. Actually, I'm going to say rest well. There's a video that I want to do, and I want to share with you something that I recently discovered about a lot. Guys, a lot of the language that we've been using, oh yeah, we've been casting spells on ourselves without knowing it. We've been using idioms and proverbs without even fully understanding the context in which these things were crafted. That is why I say English is a spell. Unfortunately, it's the only language we can currently use to cross-populate information. But I'm very, very aware and careful because, wow, there's a lot. So I'll do a teaching where I will share some of the things that I've come across that will make you go, yeah, it's deep. But on that note, Black Nation, one love. I love you with all of my heart and all of my being and every cell in my body. I wish nothing but pure, pure, pure goodness for us as Abantu. Sithokozeni.